Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another Coffee with Carl. This is probably the most legitimate Coffee with Carl that I've done so far. Being number 30, that has no bearing on why it is. But why I say that is because it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I just want to tell you how crazy this month is for me. I had my birthday. Both of my kids were born in May. My daughter's christening. Listen, I'm not a practicing Catholic. I was raised Protestant. All that stuff is kind of foreign to me. So anyway, what did I say? Her communion. Holy moly, I'm sorry. So anyway, that's going on, which is like a major deal. And then we have, what else do we have? There's something else also in May. Basically, May is an insane month. And around here, we've started calling it Morawski May because it's like we have 3 birthdays and all these other things going on. Because of that, I have basically this morning is the only time that I have to film anything. And if you've paid attention on the main channel, I missed last week. I had no upload. And I probably won't have an upload this week either. Now, I am not complaining. I love my life. I love the things that we've built as far as a family and all that. I mean, and sometimes you have to adjust the ratio, right? Like sometimes it's a little bit more family stuff because at other times I've given up a Saturday or evenings or whatever to do video stuff. And so sometimes it's a give and take. This month happens to be just a ridiculous month where everything happened all at once and it's like crazy. But that's okay because that's life, right? How are you doing? I hope that you're well. I hope that everything is going well in your life. And, I got to say that I feel especially fortunate because a friend of mine is dealing with a really bad family situation. I don't want to, go into any more detail than that. But it makes me realize how lucky I am. And sometimes you just need something to put it into perspective as to how good your life is, right? And I'm very fortunate, very happy, and always want to remain thankful. I think that's just important. I know people have things like, what do they call those gratitude journals and all that stuff. Look, that's a little woo-woo for me. I've heard it works well for a lot of people. A lot of people like to journal and stuff, and I can't really get myself to do it. I don't know why. Nothing in particular, really. What it is at night, I'll read my daughter a book. And then she wants me to tell her a story. So I'll tell her a story. And by the time I'm done telling that story, I'm wiped out. I don't have time to go journal, So matter of fact, the other day I was telling her a story. She goes, "Daddy, can you stop using your YouTube voice?" So, when you kind of modulate your voice a little bit more to make it interesting. And it's not like I'm sitting here like, okay, everybody, here we are, It's just a way of speaking that I kind of slip into, I guess, when you're not in conversation. So she asked me to stop using that voice, but I'm so tapped for time right now that I even trying to start a journal or something like that is just not even in the cards. Maybe at some point it will, because life goes through seasons, right? Like you're in this time, and maybe you're like me, where maybe you have young kids, or maybe it's you have a young family of some configuration, and it's just like time is not there, and the thing is that moment, that season of your life is gonna pass, and another one's gonna come in, and it's gonna be great but different, right? So I guess what you try to do is hold on and enjoy the things that are there now, because they're gonna change very quickly. Just like the weather in New England, they always say, if you don't like the weather, just wait a minute. And it's like, it's so true. It was 80 degrees here on Monday. Today, it's like 55. So, you just never know what you're going to get. Thank you so much for those of you who have purchased one of these mugs. I saw that we had a bunch of sales after they came out. And even though I still owe them photographs of this thing to put up on the site, they have some there now, which Brantley from Big Idea Design took, and his partner over there. Those guys, let me tell you what, Big Idea Design have been one of the coolest companies I've ever worked with. They really have been. And I mean, they're up there with some of the best brands that I, again, have ever had the pleasure of dealing with, like Carhartt. Carhartt's probably number one. They're probably always going to be number one. They could teach a class on how to deal with people in the public eye. They're just amazing. 1620, a lot of great brands that just have good people behind them. And that's what it comes down to. It's not the brand itself, it's the people behind the brand, right? But anyway, they've done just wonderful things over there. And we're working on other stuff too. So we have a few things in the pipeline, but I think that kind of getting established, getting people used to, that I have merchandise now, it's cool. So, as a matter of fact, I brought my son to the barber this weekend in preparation for this communion. See, communion, I got it right. And the guy there he goes, "Oh, you have a YouTube channel." I guess he looked it up before. He goes, "It was all I could do to not like buy all the merch and wear it next time you came in." And I was like, man, if this guy was wearing one of those shirts and wearing the hat and had the mug and the whole thing, I would have cracked up. But, it was cool. So, it's just neat when you meet people who are of a parallel mindset. So I love it. It's really cool. A lot of fun. Now, the other thing we're going to do just before we get into the news here is I got a great suggestion from one of my patrons. And by the way, I've gotten several new patrons lately, and thank you very much. It's kind of making things a little bit crazy on my end because I wanted to put together these care packages to send out to people. And care package, what I mean is I always get like samples and, merch and swag and random stuff from different companies, and it just piles up. And what I'm going to do is basically divide that up. And I know a lot of the patrons now, especially if you've been with me for a while, we have a good back and forth, like Tara and Kevin and a lot of really good people over there. So I know what you like, and I'm going to try to give you like individualized stuff. But anyway, one of my patrons had a great suggestion, and he goes, "Look, I love the Coffee with Carl series. And by the way, thank you. The response has been great, and I love the comments and the time that I get to sit. I literally am sitting there on my lunch break responding to you guys when you comment, and it's just so cool when the video comes out and the comments that I get. Man, I feel the love. It's a wonderful feeling. Really, I enjoy this more than the other channel at sometimes. I really do. He had a great suggestion, which was he asked maybe you could do like another version of this for the patrons. And I thought, that's not a bad idea, but maybe what I could actually do is simply extend this for the patrons, right? So at the end of the show, right, we'll stop. The regular one will go up on YouTube, but then I'll do another like 10 or 15 minutes or whatever, and we'll just go on and we'll do either Q&A, or today I have a collaboration coming up with Thursday Boots. And they sent me some of the samples that we came up with, right? So the prototypes. I'm going to show some of those on camera just, because, hey, why not? So there'll be an extended version for members of my Patreon, and then the regular version for members of the Coffee with Carl channel. And I don't want to slight anybody. If you're a supporter and you don't choose to be a patron, totally fine. This will basically operate as normal. You're going to keep getting what you got before, but the patrons will get a little bit extra. So that's what we're going to do. And so I'll sign off to people on the regular YouTubes and then continue for patrons. So, and actually, I could only go 41 minutes because it's as long as my memory card is. So that's kind of where we are. Anyway, let's get to the news. Triple Aught Design. This is a company that I have mentioned before. They actually, in my opinion, have the coolest looking pea coat out there. It's called the Dreadnought. It's not always available. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's available right now. But they are a really cool company. And what I see at Triple Aught, first of all, they've been around for a long time. I remember hearing about Triple Aught Design when I was really more into like the EDC kind of community, for lack of a better word. And they had a lot of cool stuff then. It seems to me that what they're starting to do is respond to what Origin is doing with their stuff. So Origin Main, Origin USA, whatever they're called. They do the Made in USA kind of thing with almost a military kind of flavor, which some people like and some people don't. I like their stuff. I liked their original factory jeans. They have changed those. They have their Delta 88s and stuff now too, which are great. They certainly have a certain kind of messaging, which is, I think it's going to be very appealing to some and it's going to turn others off, which is okay. You kind of want that polarizing effect, I think, because having everybody just feel lukewarm about your brand doesn't really do a whole lot. You want people who are like hardcore for you and people who can't stand you. And I think that's actually like music, same thing, right? So this is an interesting offering from Triple Aught Design. It's called their Intercept PD, right? And this is part of their thin gray line. Now, thin blue line, I know, is like a police support type of thing. You see those flags, right? And as a matter of fact, I have several police officers who were in my family, and I say were because they've both passed away. One was captain of the police department here in my hometown, and the other was chief of police 2 towns over in Simsbury. They use Mount Vernon Mills raw stretch denim. So they're stretch, but then again, they don't say they're selvage. So raw stretch. Raw simply means that they're unwashed, right? So you're going to get them, they're going to have indigo, they're going to be stiff, they're not going to have any treatment to them at all. And so they're probably not selvage. They say they're sanforized, 98% cotton, 2% elastane, which is a pretty typical makeup for any kind of stretch denim. But I will say though that they actually these look very good and very very much like the Origin ones in that they have triple stitching in some areas here, and they have a couple really cool looking pockets, a reinforcement where your knife goes. So they took a lot of the stuff that they normally do, Triple Aught Design, and they applied it to their jeans here. And I'm very, very intrigued. They're also $145, which in the grand scheme of things isn't too bad. We talk about $300 jeans here all the time, as if it's normal. It's not. I mean, geez. But if you're going to go to $100 for a pair of Levi's or something similar, then another $45 for something like this that seems very well sorted out, it actually might not be too bad. Plus, you can get them hemmed length, right? So some companies will send them to you, and then it's up to you to hem them or cuff them. But you can actually get the waist and the length with these, which is nice. So pretty cool offering from Triple Aught Design. Freenote Cloth and Whites have teamed up for the Freenote Cloth and Whites collaboration, Rancher 8-inch in black waxed flesh. Now, I have my thoughts on these, and I'm going to share them with you now. They're $835. This is a lot of money. However, with White's hand-sewn construction, which these are made exclusively for Freenote Cloth. It says here, hand-welted, stitch-down construction, unstructured toe, 8 eyelets. They've done a lot of nice things here, but man, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And I have, my original, let's call them the greaser, okay? Now they're called the Pullman, and then somebody, got a hair cross in the stitch-down Discord about it. They're always going to be the greaser to me. So, that's a big middle finger to you. But anyway, I have those in black wax flesh, and they look great. They've started to really patina nicely. Black wax flesh is a great leather from Horween. However, it's not very rare, right? So if these were made out of something like, I don't know, Merriam horse butt or something like that, that I'd say, okay, that's a pretty cool, interesting leather, which is also very expensive. Black wax flesh looks great, but I don't know, that's a lot of money, right? So, I'm just trying to justify this price. It has that Christie wedge on it with the black, I don't know. Nobody I know out there likes the look of a Christie wedge, a white wedge sole. I don't like them either. I think they're goofy looking, but they're great on concrete. So sometimes it's like, well, you know what? I'm willing to give up some looks because they work really well on the concrete. But that with the black, I don't know, man. These just are a swing and a miss for me. If I saw these on the shelf, I might pick them up and look at them for a second. The construction is undoubtedly there. Whites does great, hand-sewn construction and stuff like that. But the white and the black and the fact that, the leather is not really all that special. Yeah, not for me. Not for me. But maybe for you. But $835, you could get, for me, what I would do is get like a pair of Trumans or something. They have their Java wax flesh, or at that price, you could certainly go over to Viberg and get something even better. Look, there's diehard Whites people out there, but for this price, for that makeup, I don't think I would go with them. Speaking of rare leathers, did you know that you could actually get like cut-off scraps of shell Cordovan? You can. So this is actually from Loyal Strickland, and it looks like what they've done is they've taken all the stuff that, lands on the cutting floor, and they've put it into a pile, and you can take this. And there's some big pieces here. So if you wanted to make something small, like a card carrier or a wallet or a bunch of key fobs, or, you know, a bunch of like those smaller things. Like you could even take these if you wanted to and use it as like a zipper pull, you know what I mean? Cut them like strips. Basically, you know, whatever you want. And now they're all different and unique because, of course, you know, they're cutoffs, right? But this is really going to be one more for the leather workers out there, or maybe somebody who's just especially crafty. And again, a very expensive leather. So, you know, it's like right away, you're not going to go, if you were to buy like one shell, right, which is the way these things come. Shell Cordovan actually isn't even technically leather. I think technically it's a membrane. And I saw this being made at the Horween factory. It's up on the top floor, and it's a wild process. And they come out almost like oval shape, right? Like circular oval. And that's the way they come out. And then they're hung and dried and then sold. It's pretty amazing. But, you know, $140 gets you this pile of scraps, which, again, could probably go really far for some crafty leather workers, because to buy a shell would be more expensive. So that's kind of interesting, but it's only going to appeal to some people. UES has come out with their heavyweight flannels, which I got to tell you is, I bought one a while ago for I think it was 2 years ago for my flannel roundup. That flannel has become one of my favorites. I found that their stuff fits somebody like me who's maybe a little bit bulkier as compared to somebody who's maybe like a Japanese build, right? You know, people who are a little bit smaller. So oftentimes those work really well. Now, this is from Corelection again. You know, the people who are always on a perpetual angle. I don't know why. Don't know what's going on over there. But guys, fix your tripod or stop shooting it on a ramp. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, UES has come out with some really good looking flannels. And a couple of my picks here. This one that I like, what's it called? Hazy Green. Hazy Green looks amazing. It is like this very interesting, deep, oh man, it's beautiful. And you know, I should really, so it's 15.5 ounce ultra heavyweight flannel, which is seriously heavy. That's great stuff. It's not as heavy as Ironheart, which I think is like, I can't remember how heavy they are. They're up there though, way up there. But this has a really interesting kind of ropey texture, whereas the Ironheart is a little bit smoother. And I love it. I just think it's so cool. Of course, yarn dyed. It's made in Japan. Their stuff's just great. Now, the Hazy Green is my favorite. It's beautiful. I don't think I'll be able to stop myself from getting one of those. But the other one that I saw that was really, really cool is called Winter Sky. And it's this beautiful bluish, tones of blue basically throughout. So you have light blue and almost like a navy. And it's put together really nicely. And the reason I picked out this one in particular was that sometimes with UES, the fabric that they'll use gives the illusion of stripes from far away because they don't have enough horizontal lines to break up the pattern. So I've stopped myself from buying a few things because when you look at the zoomed out photo, it has like this stripy look to it, which I don't particularly like. So this one actually looks really nice because it has some horizontal and vertical lines which intersect to give you that, you know, classic plaid pattern. And I think this is just beautiful. So there's several that they've come out with recently that look dynamite. And actually, again, the value for these is very high as compared to Red Wing, Flathead, etc. I just think they did a spectacular job on this. Very, very nice stuff from UES. That's a company I want to check out more of their stuff to see if everything else is as good as their flannels. Now, a weird pick this week, but one that I gotta say, I like. I would wear this. Most of my weird picks, I go, okay, you know, this is just wacky and whatever, and, you know, maybe you won't want to buy it. This, on the other hand, I actually might wear, even though it's way, way out there. So again, look at the king of the weird picks is Capital. Capital they're so adventurous that you have to admire it, right? Like, a lot of their stuff is a swing and a miss, no doubt. You know, they're cutout elbow sports jackets. And I've given them some crap for coming out with some stuff that I think is just way, way over the top that nobody would actually wear. This, on the other hand, I gotta tell you, it's really, really cool. So that's enough teasing. This is the 12-ounce Magpie Denim third jacket in light indigo. They also make a shirt version of this, but more or less what they've done is it's an indigo jacket with a... How do they do it? Do they print it on this or are they woven? Made of jacquard denim that expresses the magpie's beautiful wings in 3 dimensions. Any tears or damage caused by processing are intentional in the design and are not product defects. It's amazing. Look at this thing. I mean, if you're looking at it, or maybe if you're just listening, what you basically have on here is these woven feathers, which cascade down the entire jacket. And from a distance, it kind of almost looks like a distressed jacket, you know, like because you have the different tones of indigo. But when you get to the bottom, they've actually cut the hem to mimic the look of feathered edges. And it's amazing. Again, nobody else has ever done this that I know of. And this is just an incredibly unique look. I mean, I'm in awe at the artistry and the execution of this and the time that went into making this. Really beautiful stuff from Capital. $525, which in the world of Capital isn't crazy, but this is something that if you have a funky kind of style, some people have a very out there type of style, which really would work well with this. This is spot on. Now, again, like I said, it comes in a shirt version as well, but it also comes in a lighter toned version, which is like an ecru, right? And it looks really cool in that one as well. However, I think I mean, personally, I like the indigo. I think that looks really, really cool. But the ecru actually might be a little bit more subtle. So maybe if you don't want the pop of blues in your face or whatever, the ecru might be a way to go. But beautiful, beautiful stuff from Capital, really. All right, that's all for this week. What I'm going to do now is we're actually going to continue this show. And if you're a patron, keep watching, because we're going to open up some of these Thursday Boots samples or whatever they want to call them, prototypes, you know what I mean? Because this is the model that will be coming out soon, and they've gotten very close with this first run. So we're going to check those out. For the rest of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. I really love your interaction and talking to you and getting to know you guys in the comments. Really, I'm humbled at how many great people there are out there. You guys are just wonderful. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you later.